to my YouTube family. This is the OG Crypto Newjack coming at you with some more juicy news. But before I begin, let me say I am not a financial advisor. Anything you see or hear in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial advice. Remember to do your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making investment decisions. Looking at the global crypto market today, it's up 4.1% at 1.18 trillion. Bitcoin coming in at number one at $27,060. Ethereum coming in at number two at 1,879. And our beloved XRP coming in at number 6 at 53 cents. Taking a look at crypto bubbles, and it looks like a sea of green. And the biggest gainer looks like it's going to be Pepe, the meme coin, at 16.6%. Moving on, the fear and greed index is in fear at 44, and that's a decent move from yesterday, which was neutral at 53. And folks, the SEC has done it again. They dropped another lawsuit. In their statement, they write, "Today we charge Coinbase Incorporated with operating its crypto asset trading platform as an unregistered national securities exchange, broker, and clearing agency, and for failing to register the offer and sale of its crypto asset staking as a service program. You simply can't ignore the rules because you don't like them or because you prefer different ones. The consequences for the investing public are far too great. While Coinbase's calculated decisions may have allowed it to earn billions, it has done so at the expense of investors by depriving them of protections to which they are entitled." Now, I can't think of a bigger and more disingenuous statement than that. We're talking about a Coinbase company that IPO'd and went public 2 years ago, and the SEC had to review them, the books, everything that they were doing, and they gave them the green light. IPO became a publicly traded company, and then 2 years later, everything that you told them that was okay is no longer okay. There's no way to make sense of that. There is absolutely no way to make sense of that. Moving on, we have the chair, Gary Gensler himself. I'm not going to play the whole thing. He was on CNBC discussing...
Take it one by one. Which is more important in your view?
You're leading this interview. I'm going to follow you where you are. But let me just say this to the investing public. These trading platforms, they call themselves exchanges, are commingling a number of functions, which in traditional finance, we don't see the New York Stock Exchange also operating a hedge fund, making markets, and as we alleged in Binance, having a sister organization, flooding the platform with transactions called wash trading, and the lack of controls on the platforms. It is really a web of deception and conflicts, along with a control person, Mr. Zhao, trying to evade U.S. law.
All right, I'm going to stop it there. I can't take him anymore. But completely disingenuous, and we need to get rid of him. And actually, the SEC, if we can abolish one agency, I would have picked them. They are basically the strong arm, the henchmen, the mafia for the incumbents, that if they see their bottom line being threatened, they send in the SEC and trying to shut them down. We can't have that in America. Moving on, we have Ashley Prosper. Shout out to her. She writes, "The Ripple case has to have been settled. Bringing the cases against Binance and Coinbase, two titans of the industry with enough resources to tie the SEC up in years of litigation, would be undermined if Judge Torres' summary judgment ruling went against the SEC." And I 100% agree. The Ripple case, it has to be over for them to even bring lawsuits against these two titans, as she says. Moving on, Eleanor Tourette. 4 key complaints from the Coinbase lawsuit. Number 1, Coinbase has operated as an unregistered broker since at least 2019, evading the disclosure scheme for securities markets. Again, they're saying since 2019. They IPO'd in 2021. So whatever they were doing in 2019, they okayed it when they IPO'd, or they would not have allowed them to become a publicly traded company. So right there, they're going against their own argument. Number 2, Coinbase has deprived investors of disclosures and protections that come from registration, exposing them to significant risk. Again, there is no way to register as a digital asset company. It's just impossible to do because they have not set up the way to do it. Okay, moving on to number 3, crypto assets that Coinbase makes available on its platform put Coinbase's operations squarely within the purview of the securities laws. Tokens named were Solana, ADA, Matic, File, Sand, Axis, Chiliz, Flow, ICP, Near, Voyager, Dash, Nexo. All these tokens, if I'm not mistaken, were listed on the platform when they IPO'd, and now they're securities. Doesn't make sense, folks. Number 4, Coinbase's staking program includes 5 stakeable crypto assets, making the staking program an investment contract and therefore a security. Unbelievable. Moving on, something that we don't see too much in Washington, a lawmaker that is pro-crypto and has common sense. But every now and then we run into a few of them. This is one of them. Senator Cynthia Lummis, she has here her statement on the SEC suing Coinbase, and she writes, the SEC has failed to provide a path for digital asset exchanges to register, and even worse, has failed to provide adequate legal guidance on what differentiates a security from a commodity. The SEC's continued reliance on regulation by enforcement continues to harm consumers. Real consumer protection requires creating a robust legal framework that exchanges can comply with, not pushing the industry offshore or into the shadows. This is why Congress needs to pass the Loomis-Gillibrand Responsible Financial Innovation Act. I agree, we need some sort of regulatory framework in place so we can stop the SEC from their overreach. And here we have Big Brad Garlinghouse. He came out with a statement. It's embarrassing to watch an unelected bureaucrat flail like this to mask the fact that he and his agency don't have the power that he so desperately craves. No one is fooled. And he goes on to say, if it wasn't already clear, it should be now. Chair Gensler's laughable pro-innovation stance, as he said today, is exactly the opposite. What this also tells me is that the SEC is throwing lawsuits at the wall and hoping they distract from the agency's FTX debacle. 100% agree with Big Brad Garlinghouse. And look at this. Everyone gets sued but me. Yep. For now, that seems to be the case. Stuart Alderotty continued off his Brad's comments. He writes, the allegations in these suits are just that, unproved. The SEC, despite what Chair Gensler pretends, does not have a magic regulatory wand that it can just wave and say tokens are securities. Looking forward to how the courts and Congress will take this. And yes, so am I. Here we have Jeremy Hogan chiming in with Binance, the suit against them here. He says, exactly 2 years ago, we gave the Binance token BNB an 8.5 out of 10 SEC danger rating. And here we are looking like Nostradamus, except that we gave Tether an 11 out of 10 danger rating, Spinal Tap, and Tether is chugging along just fine.
Is the SEC likely to go after the Binance coin as a security? Well, Binance already has a history with US regulators, and the issue was that Binance was never designed to even operate in the US, but US consumers, being very savvy and smart, found a way around that, and were trading on Binance by making friends with a person in China who would make the trades for them. Just kidding. We were using VPN routers to mask our location. Now, imagine that, US citizens having to act like we are in China in order to engage in capitalism. In any case, Binance recently launched Binance US and submitted to our government regulation. As of 2 hours ago, you can buy, sell Binance coin on the US site, so we can analyze it under the Howey test. First, is there investment of money? Yes, you buy the coins. And where did the coins come from? Well, Binance had a genuine initial coin offering, an ICO, in 2017. Now, this is the exact thing that Chairman Clayton and new SEC Chairman Gensler have basically said is an investment contract. And here's how that looked. There you can see that the founders of Binance received 40% of the tokens and are now billionaires. 50% was sold to the public. Ostensibly, some of that was sold to American investors. And 10% went to angels. Not that type of angel. I think actually angels might be code for bribe money in China. In any case, this is not looking good. And to make matters worse, the control of the Binance coin is very centralized. In fact, in order to maintain the value of the coin, Binance buys back and burns coins every quarter, and even said in its white paper that the purpose of doing so was to keep the coins scarce and valuable. So there was an investment of money made to build and upgrade the platform and exchange. There is a common enterprise in which Binance is actively involved in promoting the coin and increasing its value. The only thing that Binance has going for it is that it's a utility token and will gain value from its utility. But even that is tied to the centralized Binance platform, and that meets the third prong of the Howey test. For those reasons, we have lots of strong arguments that the Binance coin is a security, and it gets an 8.5 legal briefs danger rating. Funny, I used to have a 1986 Honda 4-cylinder, and that's exactly how the speedometer looked. Now remember.
Very funny, very funny. And continuing with Jeremy Hogan, he writes, I bought Algo because Chair Gensler praised it and its founder back in 2019. And now the SEC is alleging Algo is an unlawful security. Maybe I should just stick to Bitcoin and XRP. And this is what he means here.
Sylvia McCally's Algorand, who's a Turing Award winner at MIT that I work with. Sylvia's got a great technology that has performance. You could create Uber.
Well, he's praising Algo, and then years later, as SEC chair, he claims it's a security. The disingenuous statements, they just never seem to end coming out of the SEC, and specifically with Gary Gensler. Moving on, we got Bill Hughes. He writes, possibly the most important part of the SEC versus Binance case. SEC may seek a preliminary injunction that, if granted, will result in a court order barring any unauthorized transfer of assets from Binance US. And prayer for relief. This is in the motion itself. Wherefore, the Commission respectfully requests that the court order temporary and preliminary injunctive relief, including but not limited to asset freezes, a verified accounting, repatriation of assets, expedited discovery, preservation of documents and information, prohibition of the destruction of evidence, the appointment of a receiver, alternative service, and or any other necessary equitable relief that the court deems just and proper. Okay, moving on. Eleanor Tourette, she puts out, I've never seen the SEC attempt to try a case in the court, a public opinion. Usually they wait until after a case is settled to brag a former SEC official who wished to remain anonymous. Do you think the SEC Gov is sensationalizing the case before it goes to the court? Absolutely. Why would they put this thing out? It is a very damning statement, and I'm not here to defend Binance or any alleged wrongdoing that they were doing at all, but they're putting this thing out in the media so the media can get involved and making Binance look bad before the case even gets started. But the statement is damning, I will admit that. It says here, we are operating as an effing unlicensed security exchange in the USA, bro. That was supposedly the Binance chief compliance officer in 2018. If that's the case, then they're in the wrong and they got to pay for whatever wrongdoing they did, but you don't put that out. So they're the media right now. Okay, moving on. The ISO Gold plot twist. Johnny Sugarcoat says, by the time Judge Torres comes out with her ruling, there won't be any exchanges left to relist XRP. You know what? At the rate that they're going, that might be the case. If they have a lawsuit on Binance yesterday, today's Coinbase, tomorrow, who knows who's going to be? Unbelievable. Shout out to Mr. Hubert. He writes, yet even in the Coinbase lawsuit, Ethereum continues to be somehow the only asset which is only mentioned but never declared a security. You just can't fight bribes. It is still the best and cheapest way to get clarity by the SEC.gov. And this is what he's talking about. The SEC in their lawsuit, they put the 5 coins that are staking on the Coinbase platform: Tezos, Cosmos, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana. But if you notice, Ethereum ETH was not one of the tokens or coins that were listed as securities. I wonder why. They're part of the 5 that are being staked and they're not being mentioned. So, that makes you wonder. It makes me wonder, is this an orchestrated movie by the incumbents and powers that be? Paul Coin News puts out the end of the movie about to play out. And I'm not sure if this is or is not an orchestrated movie, but if it is, it's not going to play out the way the incumbents thought. I think it's going to play out more like this over here, where XRP Gorilla puts out, create widespread panic and uncertainty in the crypto market just before the end of the case. Number 2, give XRP clarity, and that is huge, folks, because according to CoinMarketCap, there are over 25,000 digital assets, coins/tokens, 25,000. Out of those 25,000, there will be only 1 with clarity after this case is over, whether that's through a judgment ruling by the judge or there's a settlement between the SEC and Ripple. But either way, they will be the only 1 out of 25,000 plus that has clarity. So just think about that. Everybody who's into the digital asset space and they have money to invest, I believe they're going to slowly but surely start moving their investment into XRP because that's the only safe one. It was literally the only one clarity. Bitcoin and Ethereum can even say that. And then number 3, watch XRP swallow the entire market, which I believe that's how that movie is gonna play out. Okay, fam, that's going to do it for today's video. If you found this video to be helpful, would you please smash a like and a subscribe? I would really appreciate it. And thank you very much in advance. And in the words of Snoop Dogg, keep your mind on your money and your money on your mind. Peace out, fam.